Nebraska, we're looking at some of those water resource issues. We have the aquifer underneath us, and we want to protect that for future generations. So it gives us an opportunity, a platform to do those types of work and give our students those great experiences. So one of the great opportunities that we have through this partnership with NRCS is we get to develop research projects based on local needs. And at Northeast, we're working on soil health. We're working on water holding capacity in marginal soils. We're working on looking at the quality of our water and looking at runoff and compaction. We're looking at opportunities to build better soil and build the nutrients in the soil.
What I teach my students is that soil is an ecosystem. We don't think about it. A lot of people just see it as dirt. That but I tell my students it's more than just a bunch of ground up rock particles. It's a whole ecosystem, wildlife down there of microscopic organisms, fungi, worms, things like that, and and they interact. And if you the more you till that up and disrupt that ecosystem, the less it functions. So the more you have to turn to non-natural methods to retain moisture and produce nutrients in the soil.
There's definitely been an increase in the use of cover crops for a lot of reasons. It might be wind and water erosion. It might be feed. It might be weed suppression. It might be green manure or creating a biomass, building organic matter, which is a lot what we're trying to do with this project. Every farmer probably has a different need, and the use of cover crops probably can fit anybody. It's just finding that fundamental need on the operation and then focusing on what type of products we need to put out there to either build the soil or and we're going to build the soil with no matter what we put out there. It's just going to be what other component is going to provide value to that operation, not only through maybe an additional product, but bringing back value to the soil. And the thing is, when we find that right product to fit the right application, we're going to be building soil, and we're going to be adding value back biologically. And when we do that long term, we're giving back to the environment and leaving a lasting impact upon the soil.
There's kind of a lot of nitrate infiltration down into the groundwater in this area. So we'll basically have people pump out water for us from the wells, from the irrigation, and we'll see, how many nitrates there is. Some of them are low, some of them are very high. And so that helps us, that especially helps Bob Noonan come up with management strategies to help reduce those nitrates, or at least stop any more from getting in.
This problem has been caused by long-term overuse of nitrogen fertilizers. We are also starting to see some issues with phosphorus over-application as well, which is starting to cause issues such as we have at Willow Creek Reservoir in Pierce County. But it's a long-term. It's been, again, going on for 40 to 50 years, and it will probably take that long, if not longer, to get it taken care of. I've had a number of students from Pierce County who farm with their families up there, who are doing everything right, and they have lowered the quantities of nitrogen that they put on. And in those areas, you will eventually see a reduction of nitrates in the groundwater. It's going to take time. But there are enough farmers who refuse to even save themselves money with this sort of application. I don't know. It's frustrating, but there is a way to help this issue, and we need to look at the big picture as far as what's going to happen to these communities in Pierce and Knox County if they can't drink their water. It's a deal.
From an economic standpoint, eutrophication is an issue because what we're finding out is plants only need so many nutrients. They need so much nitrogen, phosphorus, or whatever you're applying. And so if they don't utilize it, then it just runs off or it infiltrates. And so you're spending more money than you have to on that. Not only that, but we'll get to that, but various farming practices can inhibit how the nitrogen and phosphorus actually get into the soil and become useful. And so it just will run off, and water always goes somewhere. you got a little creek running through your field, or you've got a little rain runoff, that'll end up somewhere eventually. Another important aspect to the process of eutrophication is that it's not just producers out in rural areas, standard agricultural producers. It still is an additive problem between them and, urban areas, because urban areas are largely pavement, a lot of cement, and water runoff with people fertilizing their lawns has also very much attributed to this issue of eutrophication. Agriculture producers hopefully should care or want to care because ultimately, like big picture, the health of overall ecosystems in your area kind of can impact everybody. So if we have that land management requirement of us to make sure that, again, like it's productive in the future for any future generations that want to use it, that we understand how these systems work, how they function, and how they're interconnected. Because water is interconnected with soil health. They go hand in hand. The biological organisms that depend on all those areas go hand in hand. So it's really important, if we want to maintain the overall ecosystem health of our wonderful state in Nebraska, that we understand the big picture and work together.
Ag education is really important for students to really understand how they can make a profit and how they can do things right. One of my goals in farming and in teaching ag is to make our situation, our farming situation, our food production better and safer, so that in 100 years, in 500 years, they'll have healthier soil. They'll be producing better food, with higher nutritional content, and I see how those changes happen in my life from ag education, and I see that happening with our students. Just their lives, their attitudes, their careers are going the right direction.